Okay, Necromancer turn 1 recap. The undead kind of just surged forwards. They moved a bit from behind the rock, moved here. I'm scooting the spider that way because I have a game plan to use. Let me show the spell. The Necromancer's con spell, the spell that he can cast faster than his other spells, is called, and again, you make these. I made up this spell in the system. It's called Terrifying Movement, and it costs 6, but a target model gets to gain Strider, which allows it to run a lot faster. The Strider rules right there. This model moves double its move stat when performing run actions. So my spider will move 10, and then with that spell, it'll be able to run twice. So he's going to be able to book it all the way around. It's a pretty powerful movement spell, especially with his high movement speed. So they all moved forward. These are the activation timers because they just moved. So move is 2. I ran my spider, so a run cost 3. And then I accelerated the con spell. Both spells down ticked at the start of the turn, and then I used my 1 power, that's why it's off to the side because it's used, to to accelerate my con spell. Sorry, down tick is like to go down 1 pip. I call it down ticking. And then to spend power to do that is called accelerating. So I accelerated this spell, and because it was the con spell, it accelerated twice. So it's down to the activation timer 3, which if I don't touch it in 3 more turns, I'll be able to do that. But I'm gonna touch it again next turn. So that is the Necromancer's first turn. I'm a little terrified of the, he's got a pretty strong ranged shot, so I'm a little worried this Hammer Templar is just going to get annihilated. I mean, he's in trouble. And we'll see. Dwarf turn 2, coming up soon. Alright. Sorry, it's early in the morning when I'm getting back to this. And so I still need to clear out my throat a little bit. Here we are. We have finished the Necromancer's first turn, the Dwarf's first turn, so we're going to talk about what happens at the end of all the players' turns. Well, we had our round counter up there, so now it's round 2, which means both the Dwarf and the Necromancer get 2 power to be spending on their turns. We'll put like that. And then everything for the dwarves, it's my turn, so I'm going to down tick all of my guys. Down tick my spells. I said guys, and I'm going to start with my spells. Find the 9 on this guy. There we go. So everything with an activation timer down ticks. So this guy would down tick, this whole group, which they're just sharing one again as a reminder, because as long as you're tracking it, that's what matters. So here's how we sit when the dwarves would kick off their turn. Now I'm going to look at a couple of things. I could use my 2 power. So right now, every single model can't do anything. They still all have an activation timer on them. I have 2 power to spend, and I'm wondering if I'm going to try and advance this guy or what I'm going to do. I think that I am going to spend 1 power for my turn. And I'm going to accelerate my con spell, which will bring it down to 7 because it's my special spell. So it will accelerate and down tick twice. And then I'm going to use my last power to... I think I'm going to have this guy. I'm going to downtick this guy, which would remove the activation timer. And I'm going to have him scoot. I don't want him to get charged. So I want him to stay out of like 4-ish inches of some of these guys. But I want him to be ready if they move forward to be able to charge. So I'm going to have him scoot his butt right about there, I think, to be a little bit outside of some charge ranges. And then because he moved, excuse me, again, early in the morning, because he moved, he'll have an activation timer of 2 put back on him. And that would be the dwarves' second turn. The turns can go pretty quick. I'm going to do the Necromancer's turn where I do all the down ticking and everything. Well, I mean, it's the Necromancer's turn. So everybody would down tick. The activation timers would get closer. Remember, our spider was down. Our spider ran, so it's at a 3. And oh yeah, he's going to use one of his power to accelerate. Oh, I forgot this. Down tick the spells for his turn. I down ticked the models, but not the spells. He's going to use that one power, and now this spell can be cast because it's his con spell, so it gets to accelerate. It gets to down tick twice when it accelerates. So I'm going to use my other power to cast that spell. And let's pull it back up. Terrifying movement. Target model in range 16 is target model A. Target model gains Strider until end of turn and performs 2 runs. The Strider rule is this model moves double its move stat when performing run actions. So he is going to cast that. Yeah, very easily he's going to cast that on his spider. And spells don't... models can always act with the spell actions. So even though the spider has activation timers on it, the spell circumvents that. So he can run, because his movement is 5, he can run 10 twice, which is absolutely bananas. So he is going to make his way downtown. But he's going to encounter some terrain, probably. Let me do some measurements and see. I can't do it one-handed while holding the camera. Let me do some measurements and get back. Okay, after all is said and done, the terrain here really slowed down the spider because, holy cow, he is so big. So he had to go up this terrain, down that terrain, come around, and come over here. So, I mean, he's still in kind of a terrifying position. For later, the ambush seems to be going well. And then that spell was successfully cast, so it goes back to its, I think the 6 on this dice is that thing. It goes back to its casting value of Acti to start down ticking to be able to be cast again. And that would lead us to the dwarves next turn. So I feel like, as a development note here, the turns start to flow a lot easier once you get set up and once you get going. Only the models, activation timers and whatnot make it so every model doesn't move every turn. And the turns go pretty quickly. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's all there is to say about that. I am going to, because again, it's really hard to do the turns and hold the camera. I'm going to do the dwarf turn, and then I'm going to recap it, and then do the necromancer turn and recap it, and continue to make comments about the development situation. And so, but before we do that, we would tick to round 3 and give the players their power. 3 power this turn to be playing with. Okay, I'm going to do the down ticking, which is how you start your turn. You down tick all your spells, all your model, all your acti. You down tick, and then play the turn. I'm going to do that off camera and recap. While I was starting that, I did all my down ticking, but but then I figured maybe I should just show what I'm doing. That's probably the better option, and kind of the thought process would show more of the game. Maybe I'll show like the Dwarf side and then quickly do the Necromancer side for this dev series. But I used one of my power to accelerate that spell after they down ticked. Everybody else down ticked, so all of these guys have no acti. That guy down ticked to 1, and so we're gonna have some charges. I might have moved this spider too close to the Necromancer guy. I definitely did. We are going to charge with this guy into the spider. The spider doesn't have a base, so we're playing as kind of as close as we can at the moment. And then I'm going to use another one of my power to accelerate this model so that he can also turn and charge against the spider. Now, charging costs 4 activation timer, but you get to move and do an attack. I'm gonna refresh those attacks, and what I'm gonna do there in just a minute. I'm gonna roll those together. I'm gonna decide what to do here. I think I'm just gonna have this dude wait, because these guys are gonna move forward, and then hopefully I can charge. Same with him. And then I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna shuffle. I think I'm gonna shuffle these dwarves just a bit. Well, forward. I guess this guy will move a little bit. He's gonna move up to here, staying out of. I'm trying to play the game like I really kind of would. I can't think about it super deeply because I'm trying to play both sides and then talk to you guys. So tactics wise, it's gonna be pretty slim on the ground, but we're just gonna shuffle all of these guys up a little bit, because maybe we'll want to do some counter charging as things progress. Okay, so all of those guys are going to have, I need another dice. Dude, you need a lot of dice in this game. Okay, but all these dudes are on a 2. And that guy has nothing. And then I'm going to go refresh my, I'm going to grab these guys and look at how they attack, and come back with talking about the dice rolls, as I just shoved this dude with a paper. Okay. And then I will come back and show you the dice rolls and how those charge attacks go against that cave spider. Okay. So the Templar of the Hammer has a melee ability. Let me put this down so I can be pointing. So this is his stat line right here. Melee ability 18, a melee range of 1. We charged in, so we're in melee range. So the AtomsPast dice system works on it's a 6-base system based on the D6. And for every 6 points you have in melee ability, you roll an additional dice. So these guys have, oh, I just tried to squat down because this table is so low and my hamstrings are dying. So these guys hit pretty hard. They roll 3 dice to roll for damage, and then you're trying to roll under your melee ability. So the lower you roll, the more damage you do, and I'm going to show you. Now these guys have some cool abilities. They have melee expert, so they get to modify a dice by X. They have melee expert 1, and they have critical melee strikes and master forge melee. They are pretty hard hitting dudes. If I get ones, it's going to add 4 extra damage to the result, and I get to re-roll one of my dice. So let's do a roll, and then I'll show you how that all pans out. And then I checked the cave spider, his rules, and because he is a reanimated model, he takes he takes 3 less damage, and he does 3 less damage. Whatever the combat result, whether he's being attacked or attacking, it gets subtracted by 3. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. He's undead, so he's, you know, kind of tougher, but he's undead, so he's not as good at hitting things as a living thing would be. So let's roll these 3 dice. We'll roll them over here. Okay, I rolled horribly because I rolled super high. I get to re-roll 1 for my master forged. Okay, and then I have that melee expert 1, so I get to modify one of them by 1. So I'm going to change that to a 4. Ooh, trying to do that while looking at the camera, it's not my best. So that is 14. 14 minus 18 is not very good. That's 4 damage would be the result. However, because he's reanimated, we do 3 less damage. So that attack by my big knightly boy only did 1 damage to this cave spider. That's not great. Let's see if his friend can do a little bit better. Come on, buddy. That's a big spider. Okay, so that was a bit better. I get to re-roll 1 dice. That didn't help. And we will down tick this one for melee expert down to a 3. Okay. I have a special rule for 1s where I do 4 additional damage, but let's total up first and see how things look. So we've got what, 8, 9. So 9, 18 minus 9 is 9. And then this guy with my critical melee strikes I gave this guy gets to add 4. So that's 13 damage from this guy. Because he's reanimated, it's 3 less. So that's 10 damage. So that was a pretty good smackaroo. So I'm going to go mark the dice for the cave spider, and that will have wrapped up the dwarves' turn. And it got some attacks in. 11 damage to the cave spider. Before I switch so that we can see. The cave spider has 25 durability. Alright. I will be back with the Necromancer's turn. Alright. We are back with the Necromancer's next turn. As a reminder, partly to myself because it's been a couple days since I've been able to come out and work on this. It's been Christmas here. I've had kiddos and whatnot. Anyways, devlog. Let's get back into it. For you guys, it's just been a brief cut of the video. So it is the Necromancer's turn. All of these activation timers for the whole squad-a-rooney of Skelly Boys, those are all done. The spiders one will down tick to 1. This con spell will down tick to 5. This other spell, I'm trying to remember exactly. I'm pretty sure it's the attacking one. Will down tick to 3. And we are off to the races for the Necromancer's turn. Now, I think this dude is toast. I'm going to do some charges and do some shuffling up, and then of these other Skelly Boys, And I will come and check in after the turn and do a breakdown, bit by bit. Well, I think I can show some of this. Okay, so, well, let me double check some of the stats. I've got them here. I'll just double check while we're here. We've got the Skeleton Ogre Bodyguards. They have a move of 3 and a melee range of 2. Now, for running and for charging, it is your movement range plus half your movement range rounded down. So that would be 4.5 for these Skeleton Ogre Bodyguards. And then so back down to 4 for a charge. But because they have melee range 2, that means they kind of have an effective charge range of almost 6 inches. So I actually think that this Skelly boy, he's going to be in. I'm going to have to measure for him. And that guy is going to be real close, too. I think he's just barely out. But I think that guy could get to him, too. I have a question of charges between situations here. These guys are going to have to move forward. I know that, so I'm just going to do them. They move 3. So they're going to scooch like this and like this. And share an activation timer for now. They both moved too. And we'll see. Maybe I'll use my power to accelerate one of those two. This guy, they have a move of 3 and then a melee range of 1. And so I made a mistake with my hammer boy because they kind of have an effective charge of 5. So this guy's going to charge in here. To there. Well, he can move 4 inches. I should do. Yeah, that's right. And then let's see if this guy can get in. Effective range of 5. If he can scoot that way. Yeah, he can also get in. I think he's going to get in right here. This Hammer Templar is he's going to be in trouble. He can't make it the whole way, but he's within an inch of that. There we go. Okay, those two. I like to track when I have like charges and stuff. I usually just track them separately. So, okay, those 2 charges. That guy's not going to be able to get in. And let's see if he can. He can't get that far. So he's going to move 3 up to right about here. And have his own little activation timer. And then the Necromancer is going to, before these 2 charge this guy, the Necromancer is going to shoot. Let me go get another dice, and then I will show his stuff first. Let me, actually, right now I'm just getting to his page. Let me get another dice and be back, and he'll shoot. Alright, let's review our Banished Necromancer. So durability, well, we don't need to do his durability right now. He has a ranged ability of 24. So that's 4 dice that he will use. Remembering the D6 system, for every 6 up on an ability, you add an extra dice. And then he has a special rule, Power from Pain. For every 4 damage this model causes in melee. In melee. So that's not going to apply here. He's got Strider, which doesn't apply here. Warding 2, which doesn't apply here. No other flanking key or no other melee keywords. He does have flanking shots. Mods with flanking shots can perform a flanking attack with a friendly model using a ranged attack action. And then 2, yeah. And he has lethal ranged. So if he rolls double 1s, 2 1s before any modifications or rerolls, he will kill the target that he is firing at. He is going to use his, I think I called it his Staff of Death, but this is a Wizard Blast from him coming in. I'm going to quick check for cover. Pretty sure this guy is going to have cover from him. AtomsPast uses line of sight, natural line of sight as best as possible. And from shooting from this base, if any part of the base crosses, yeah, he's going to have pretty good cover. Because I'm in the garage, it's hard for me to get down to the Necromancer and see how much of the Templar is covered. But I'm going to give him more than 50%. So in AtomsPast, less than 50% of the model being covered is subtracts 3 from the result of the dice, and more than 50% of the model being covered subtracts 6 from the dice damage. So let's see what the Necromancer does with his shot. And then, I didn't make it clear, attacks, both ranged attacks and melee attacks, cost 3 activation timers. So before I do this roll, I'm going to make a little dev note here. You can see how the battlefield starts, so you have these different timing of different models, and turns usually go a little bit faster once things start breaking up like this. Turns, I feel like, are pretty fluid because you don't always have people who are going to be doing anything. You have a lot of people who are going to be down ticking and waiting for that turn. However, lots of games the turns go pretty quick. So let's see what he does. 2 1s, 2 1s. Okay, he kills him. First casualty, Templar down. Well, we'll see if those guys can now get to the depth guard. That's pretty wild. He rolled insane. I don't even have to check the other stuff that he can do because he just nuked him with that lethal damage. That's a rule. I find I'm going to have to see how that goes because anyways, it's one of the rules that is being tested out. And again, AtomsPast is going to be a living game. It gets updated digitally, and so everything will be updated for everyone, and you won't have to buy new rulebooks and stuff. But anyways, that's not the point of this video. It's not to shill. It's to get to this part. Okay. These guys have a charge of 6. Let me get my dice. This is so terrible to do with one hand. My dice. I meant my ruler. I gotta figure out if this game makes any money. The first thing I'm gonna do is buy like a little camera setup to show so I can test new rules and stuff. Okay, that dude, he can make it to this depth guard. Uh-oh. Okay, so he's gonna charge in. He can only move 4 to charge. So let's make sure we're doing this a little bit more legitly. As I knock him around. Oh my gosh. So 3 inches would be to there. Another inch from there would be to there. So he's going to be right there. And be able to swing. Let me get. Oh, I don't have any more of those other black die. He's going to have that one. And then I think he's going to block his compatriot from getting anywhere. Yeah, he's not going to make it. So these two guys are also going to shuffle forward 3 and 3. I should have had this guy. I'm going to have him scoot like that a bit. This guy's going to move there. This guy's going to move there. And they will share an activation timer for now, just for tracking purposes. Okay, we have charges to resolve. So let's do it. I'm gonna pull up the... Let's do that Skeleton Ogre Bodyguard first. So he's got a melee ability of 18, so 3 dice. Let's see, Mass 1. When this model performs charge actions, the target model takes an X times 6 ability damage, where X is the difference in their mass. Models with no mass count as mass 0. So because he's a big boy, when he charges in and smacks into somebody, there's an extra bit of damage that he does. So let's resolve that first. He is going to just do 1 damage. We'll just have that there for now. And then what else does he have? He has freezing melee attacks and power from pain. So power from pain every 4 damage, and then for every 3 damage this attack does, add 1 frozen acti to the target model. Okay. That's a more advanced rule. I don't know if that was best for this dev video, but here we go. So he's going to roll 3 dice. He doesn't have anything that really kind of changes this dice roll. It's just straight up. Oh, he rolled pretty good. So that would be 7, 8. 8 minus 18 would be 10. So 10 more damage to this guy just for tracking. We're going to do like this. He has taken 11 damage. That 10 damage would do 3 freezing acti, which we will have be this D4. We're going to put the 3 down. Okay, that particular dwarf is frozen and took 10 damage. And the depth guard I accidentally put that up there. Oh, I forgot to look up his... Oh, I made a mistake right here. We need to look up. He has tough and stubborn, and he's got formation training and enhanced armor 2. So the enhanced armor 2 would have, there was no re-rolling of any 6, so that toughness doesn't matter. But that where was the, oh, right here. The enhanced armor 2, he's going to subtract 2 from that result. So my mistake. We're going to change this back to a 9. We're going to change that and take that one away. There we go. Okay, so he's taken 9 damage. The depth guard have a ton of durability. They are tough dwarves. So he's going to be sticking around for that. And then let's get to these skelly boys. And let's remember, no 6s can be modified, and no and -2 to the damage done. Okay, the skeleton axe warriors, they have melee ability 12, so they'll roll 2 dice. They have a rule about rising again because they're undead boys. They have imprecise melee 1, so they're going to do 1 less damage, and they also have freezing attacks. So we're going to roll 2 dice. They don't have any rerolls or any other buffs. It's actually a debuff. Wow, he rolled really well, though. And then that one, because, well, so 3 minus 12 would be 9. Well, 12 minus 3 would be 9. And then their rule for doing less damage, a little bit less, so that would be 8 damage against that Templar. Let's mark that down. We've got some dice there. Oh, the Templar have... I've mixed up all my papers. Give me a second. The Templar also have enhanced armor too. So he would only take 6 damage from that, which would still, because they do freezing attacks, would still do 2 frozen acti on that guy as well. Now this guy's going to swing. He's the same. He rolled a 4, which 4 minus 12 minus 4 is 8. And then minus 2 more because the enhanced armor would be 6, minus the 1 from him having imprecise melee would be, where was I at? 8 down to 7. So 7 more damage. Let's see if this Templar is still alive. Okay, when all was said and done, this Templar took 16 damage, almost died, and has 3 frozen acti on it, which lowers his movement, melee, and ranged abilities. So when he swings back, he'll swing back less hard. Same with that dude. Okay, to round off the Necromancer's turn, he's going to use 1 power to accelerate this spider. So now he can activate because he has no activation timers. He's going to do a melee attack. Surprise, surprise. So let's grab our cave spider and look at his... He's got it on 2 pages. If I was printing this for my own list, I would separate these out. The application gives you all of this text, and this is the exact way it spits out the text. If I was going to make a list and then be using it multiple times, I would take that text and then, modify it my own way to make things easy to see. But, okay. He didn't charge, so that mass rule doesn't matter. Oh, regeneration 1. I forgot about this. If the model is below its durability stat, it heals D6 at the start of your turn. Let's just do that now. Just to be keeping up with the rules as best we can. Only 1. Okay, well, that's just 1. All right. He's the Necromancer's favorite. Okay. He hits pretty hard. He has melee ability 24, so 4 dice again. Let's see if he has... He's got reanimated, so we need to remember that we're going to subtract 1 from... We're going to subtract 3 from the result. He has brutal strength, so melee attacks made by this model with dice values of 1 add 2 to the result, and he has poison melee attacks. For every 4 damage this attack does, add a poison acti to the target model, which has similar effects to Frozen, except for it also affects their durability. So, okay, so we're looking for 1s, and he doesn't have any other keywords for doing his attack. So let's see what he can do. Oh wait, he has cleave, doesn't he? No, he doesn't have cleave. Okay. Alright, he's going to attack this closer one, because hopefully the Skelly boys will be able to get in and help finish him off if he doesn't. Okay. He rolled a 12-15, so 24 minus 15 is 9 damage. The Hammer Templars, remember, have armor, enhanced armor 2, so that goes down to 7 damage. So, alright. 7 damage to this dude. And that would be 2 poison counters as well. So, I've been doing the blue dice for some of this damage. I will probably change that in a minute. This guy has 7 damage. And is it 4 for poison, or is it 2? I'm forgetting. It's 4, so he only has 1 poison acti. So that's not going to do much, because at the start of the dwarf turn, it will downtick. Now the Necromancer has 2 more power. I think what he is going to do is he's going to use 1 of those power to accelerate this spell, which is his smacking around spell, Inject Rage, so that he can be doing some more attacks. Cleave 1 and perform 2 attacks. Or maybe help this spider clear out those guys and start heading for the dwarf prince. And then he's going to use his last one to accelerate. I think the spider... No, I can't. I can't afford to do the spider again. Because when you accelerate an activation timer, this is in the rule book, you can't activate the same activation timer without spending significantly more power. It costs a cumulative +2 power. So if I was going to try and accelerate him again, even though I accelerated that acti timer and it was removed, this is that model's activation timer, and that's described in the rules too. So to try and accelerate this guy again would cost me 3 power, which I do not have. So let's... I think him trying to blast people is going to get really finicky because everybody's going to be in the melee business. Let's go ahead. Let's accelerate this guy. We're going to accelerate our guy who charged. See if he can get some more swings in. Okay. All right. I will be back after down ticking for the dwarf turn. All of that, like the frozen activation timers and all of the other activation timers, I will down tick the spells, and it will be the beginning of round 4. So everyone will have 4 power. I will be back in a moment. Alright, I have down ticked. I'm gonna do like this dude's dead. That's why he's like this. He's a casualty over here. Dead. Blasted by the Necromancer in the face. So those frozen acti, all of these guys had a movement acti, so they're all sharing one. That won't continue after this turn. Got that going on. They've down ticked from their charging. The spells have down ticked. We're getting close to the con one. I'm going to do one thing on camera here, and then I'm going to do some other stuff off camera. I'm going to be spending 1 of these power, so down to 3 power left for the turn, to accelerate this big guy, which is the con spell, which is why it will down tick twice. And then I will come back because I'm going to be doing quite a bit of... I'm going to be splitting some of these guys up. And I know some things, like I know this guy's going to attack. Yeah. So I'm going to be back in just a second. And so, yeah. Okay. So I decided to burn all the rest of my energy. I used 1, remember, to accelerate the con spell. I burned it to accelerate these 3 dwarves. 2 of them were back here, so they charged in. And then this guy, who was already in melee range of him, he had to shuffle forward. And because he's frozen, he could only shuffle 1 inch forward. But there you have it. So he has an activation timer of 2. And I'm going to go ahead and probably just... This group right here of 4 models still are at activation timer 1. So they're going to charge there. This guy's going to attack here. I just looked up these rules again to remind me of the Templar of the Hammer. But just for you guys, they have melee expert. So they get to modify a dice. If they get to a 1 on a dice, their critical melee strikes makes them hit really hard. And they get to re-roll a dice. These guys are far more offensive than my depth guard. So he's going to roll. He's going to roll his 3 dice. We get to re-roll 1. The skeletons don't have anything to stop. Okay, we're going to re-roll that. 6. Ooh, we got a 1. Oh, he's going to annihilate someone. Okay. So, 5. Ah, he gets to modify a dice too. Holy cow, that was almost a perfect roll. So, 4 minus 18 is way more than that poor Skelly boy can do. But here's the thing about these Skelly boys. They only have durability 10, so he was going to annihilate him if we added the critical melee strikes to that one. This dude was smoked. However, They have Rise Again. Once per game, when this model is destroyed, do not remove it from the battlefield, but set its durability to 4. This dude, right here, got wiped out, but he is going to have durability 4 left on him, which he has 10 life. I'm gonna mark that. Got, because I'm doing it, marking the damage. So he took 6 damage from that. And he still, -2 from this roll, which still would have, for his frozen, being frozen 2. But, oh my gosh, he was just going to annihilate him. Alright, I'm going to quick double check the rules for the Depth Guard and the Ogre so I can describe that easier and quicker for you. And we'll do those 2 attacks next. Okay, this is some interesting, fun rules interactions. These guys are also reanimated like the spider, so combat results that they do and against them are -3. The dwarves just have a +1 to whatever their roll is. It's runic melee. That was a terrible roll. So that does nothing. This guy did nothing. Let's have this guy do something. Okay, that's a bit better. So he would do 1. Oh, but they have guard. So thankfully that crap roll, I'm going to show you the guard key rule because this is about showing the game more than about a really clean-cut battle report. Guard 3, the first attack subtracts X from the result. So would subtract 3. Well, that first attack sucked. Our Green Bay Packer dwarf failed so hard, but it used up that one, which means that this one can do a bit more. So that's 4 minus 12. 12 minus 4, I should say. So that's 8. Then the guy's reanimated, so it'd be 5 damage. But before we do that reanimated bit, we would add 1 for the dwarf. So I lost myself. Why did I do it in the wrong order? It's 8 damage plus 1 more from the dwarf, so 9 damage minus the 3 for being reanimated. There we go. That makes life a lot easier to do it the way that it's laid out in the rules. So he took 6 damage from that guy. And then that's the dwarves' turn. Those couple of attacks and they'll shuffle forward. And I will come back after down ticking the Necromancers board, maybe doing some shuffle forwards and recapping there. I'm trying to make this a little bit quicker now that I feel like we've gone through some of the paces and get to the next stage. So let's get to the Necromancer's turn. Okay, the down ticks have happened. So this is the state of the board now. What the Necromancer is going to do is he's going to use 1 of his power to down tick this spell, and then he's going to use another 1 of his power to cast it. And he's going to cast it from his con onto this guy right here, and the spell that he is casting is Inject Rage. Target model in range 20 is target model A. That model gains cleave 1 until end of turn and performs 2 melee attacks. So this guy's going to perform 2 melee attacks against the guy he's already hurt. The ogres have melee ability 18, so that's 3 dice. They don't have anything that modifies it. The dwarves are stubborn, so 6s can't be changed. They don't have anything that changes it. But 6s can't be changed, and they have enhanced armor 2, so they will take 2 off the result. So the first swing, that is a 3. So, and he is reanimated. So it'll actually be 5 off the result for attacking the dwarves. 2 for the enhanced armor of the dwarves, and 3 because he's an undead boy. Okay. That is 12, so that would have been 6 damage. 18 minus 12, 6 damage. 6 damage minus the 5 we were just talking about. So that is just 1 more damage from that attack. Let's see if he can do better with his second attack from that spell. Not by much, so that's 13. So 18 minus 13 is 5. And bada bing, bada boom. Nothing else. So whiffing. Lots of whiffing on that spell. My gosh. Necromancer is probably going to rethink about how much he's going to buff up his dudes. Okay. So that spell's acti. Once you cast a spell, it goes back up to its casting acti. So that will cost 6 activation timers to be able to cast again. I think it would have been better to do on the cave spider. I think he could have done a lot of work, but I thought maybe, well, there you go. The Necromancer has 2 more power, and I think what he's going to do is he's going to accelerate the cave spider, so that next turn it can attack. So that was 1 power. And then with his 1 additional power, he is going to have this guy be down-ticked and charge into right. He's going to actually charge. I'm going to move those. He's going to charge in right here. I'll put these back here. There is something I want to buy. There is a lot of tracking what's going on in AtomsPast. And what I think would be a helpful accessory for this game is like plastic kind of pointing things where you can line up dice like a little plastic wedge that like it's pointing to this guy. But anyways, that guy's gonna charge. It's not really here nor there for this particular conversation. Let's see if he can get a little bit of oomph on that guy. And they also have power from pain if they do 4 damage. Oh, that's a bit better. So that's 8. Alright, 8 minus 5. What am I saying? 18 minus 8 is 10. But then 5 off of that for the enhanced armor and them being reanimated. So that's to 5. So 5 more damage on this guy. Brings him up to 15. Now that 5 damage bought him power from pain 1. So the Necromancer now has 1 more power. And also upticked that frozen. That dude being frozen because of his freezing melee attacks. Alright, that dude is like... He's hurt more. He's feeling it. Yeah. I guess with that power he just got from power from pain, he's going to accelerate himself and spend that power. And that is the end of the Necromancer's turn. I will come back to you after down-ticking the dwarves. Okay, kind of a lot happened there. The dwarves were like over here, and that whole group, remember, had no more activation timers. The dwarf prince charged because he can see and has range 2, and he has a rule called formation training. He can attack through other models that have formation training, which the depth guard also have. So he's going to be charging in and doing some damage there. Another one of his dwarves charged in. I forgot to mark that guy. This guy. And then this guy just moved to get closer. And I forgot to mark that guy. There's a lot of tracking in AtomsPast, but it helps the turns go a lot faster. And then the one that was over on this edge came in and decided to charge and help hold off this spider. I'm a little worried this spider is going to annihilate these 2 hammer Templars before. I mean, I'm not really rooting for one side or the other. I'm just showing the game, but when I'm playing as the dwarves, I'm trying to keep in that mind frame. So now we're going to do, before we do anything else, we have a big spell about to happen. I'm going to use one of my power. I now have 5 because it's now round 5. I'm going to use one of my power to downtick this spell. So it's ready to go because it's the con spell. It downticks twice, remember. And then I'm going to use another power to cast it. So let's review that spell. Ancestral Roar is what I named this one. Target model in range 9 and models within 2 inches are target models A. Target models A gain Brave 2 until end of game, and they perform 1 melee attack. The Brave rule is, depending on Brave X, you can subtract 3 from the result when you are defending. So all of these guys right here will have 2 chances of when they are being attacked to subtract 3 from that result. They are very tough. And then everyone that's in melee range is going to make a melee attack, including our Dwarf Prince. And he's going to do his charge attack. He's going to do his charge attack first. In my haste to do this and show a full game, this is a big dev note, so if you're not here for listening to the dev notes, this would be a skippable moment. I wanted to show like a really full game of how I've been trying to test it out. It's hard to explain all of these bits. I'm starting another series that's going to start with more simple rules and the kind of build up. So this is like the shotgun blast of rules of how to play AtomsPast, and hopefully it's at least intriguing, makes you want to pick up the game and try it out, and the rule book and the way to make all your models and all your spells are right there. That's not a shill. Well, it is a shill, but it's, I hope it's intriguing enough to be able to get you interested in trying it yourself. But I am going to do a more simple Let's Play video as we go along. And one of the mistake that I was thinking of is in AtomsPast you can kind of do things in whatever order, but not like I did here. I should resolve this charge. I'm going to resolve this charge first. I'm going to do it properly. I got so excited to show the big spell that I wanted to do that, and that's foolish. I'm trying to show how the game actually works, not what I'm excited about. So we are going to do that charge and the other charges first, and then I will get to that spell. But we're casting it, and I reset it to its 13 because we're going to cast it. Alright. The Depth Guard don't have any bonus. They're just the 12, if I'm remembering right. They are the 12. They get to add 1. They add 1, but then it's -3 for them being reanimated, and then minus 3 for their guard for the first attack of the turn. So we are also going to burn through some of those. So let's do the little guys first. Our Dwarf Prince is going to charge this guy and get that guard out of the way from him. These two that charged him, or this guy who charged him, is going to get that guard out of the way. Let's do him first. So, okay, well, 12 minus 2 is 10. And then -3 for him being reanimated. So we're down to 7, and then minus another 3 for him having the guard, which he has from his shield. And so we're down to, it was 7, so down to 4 damage. Hey, but still, for getting through that guard and doing 4 damage to him, that's not so bad. And then we're going to do our Dwarf Prince. I'm going to have to look him up. So let's do him first against this guy. Well, I need to look up the cave spider too. Does he have any? He's reanimated, so it's -3. And that's it. Okay. So he's got a similar thing, but no guard. Let's see how this depth guard that charged the cave spider can do. He did not do very well. So 12 minus 9 would be 3, plus the reanimated thing. Nada. Okay. the Dwarf Prince. I'll just go through this. He's got a whole crap ton of rules because he was going to be their big buff dude. He's got melee ability 24. So he's going to roll 4 dice. He's got tough, stubborn, formation train. He gets to re-roll a dice for being a veteran. He has guard and enhanced armor himself. Brutal strength, so if we get a 1, then we'll do some extra damage. And then, where is the rest of his? Let me just double check here. Hold on. That's right. The rest of his is Cleave 1 and Master Forge. So he gets to re-roll. So let's recap. He gets to re-roll 2 dice. 1 from Veteran, 1 from Master Forged Melee. And then he has Brutal Strength. So dice values of a 1 add 2 to the result. And then if he destroys 1, he will get to cleave. So, 4 attacks, or 4 dice, re-rolling 2 of them. He no longer has guard, but there still will be -3 from being reanimated. Okay, do I even want to re-roll those 2 3s? That's a pretty good roll. I mean, well, I think we're just going to leave it. So that would be 6, 8, 9, 24 minus 9 would be 15 damage. 15 damage plus we got a 1. So that would be 17 damage. That 1, the brutal strength adds 2 more. So 17 damage minus the 3. So 14. Let's check if Skelly Ogre is dead. No, he's not. They have a 32 durability. Those are their bricks. Okay. So 14 damage to that guy. It's going to be a slog. And then I will mark that 14 damage on him. And then we'll get to the spell and we'll see if we can kill one off. Okay, I have marked that. That dude has 20 damage. He has 12 more damage until he's gone. Let us resolve the Ancestral Roar, where they all got Brave 2, and they all get to do 1 melee attack. We're going to start with our little guys, because this guy has Cleave. And so if we can knock this guy down far enough, then we can cleave some damage onto the other guy, which would be cool. Okay, the Depth Guard, we remember they get 1 bonus. That fell out of my hand, so I'm not going to count it. Okay, 12 minus 8, excuse me, that'd be 4. They get to add 1, so that's 5, and then -3 for being that. That's 2 more damage. Okay, let's do the next guy who can attack him. Okay, 12 minus 6 is 6. And then +1 for their runic melee, so 7, and then -3, so 4 more damage. That would be 20 on that dice. So he's at 26. Can this little guy attack him instead? I don't know. We'll let him these two will attack him. Okay. 2 more. That would be 12 minus 4, 8, plus another one for runic. So 9 minus 3, that'd be 6 more damage. Let me just grab it's a huge one. We won't keep using that one in a second. And then that last dude, before our Dwarf Prince, attacking that same guy. That is 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Minus 3 is 7. So 7 more damage on that guy. Let me get a better one and mark the damage there, and then the Dwarf Prince will swing. Alright, back to the Dwarf Prince. Remember, he can re-roll 2 dice, and he's going to be attacking this mostly hurt dude. He's on 26. If I can do more than... has 32 durability, so more than 6 damage, we can have it. Oh, that was not very good. Well, we get to re-roll, so we will re-roll these 2. That was worse. Oh, man. Okay, so that's 10, 15, 17. 17, 24 minus 17 is only 7. 7 minus that 3 is only 4 more damage. He's not there yet. He's close. But he is not there. He has 30. He was 2 damage away. 2 damage away. He's at 30. He's at 30 damage. Ooh, those guys are hard to take down. Those skelly ogres. Alright. Okay. That would be... Now I need to decide what to do with the rest of my power. I'm going to accelerate my Dwarf Prince by 1. I am going to accelerate this Hammer Warrior right there. So that would be 2 of my power. And then I am going to accelerate this Hammer Warrior for my last power. Okay, that is the end of Dwarf turn 5. Now it's the Banished Necromancer's turn. Okay, I've done the down ticking, so we know some things are going to happen. We know this guy is going to charge in. Because why wouldn't he? He's got that big old nice axe. Why wouldn't he want to charge? Try and destroy some dwarfy dwarfs. Let's see if these guys can make it. Can these guys make it? Yeah, they are going to make it over to this guy. This hurt dude. They're going to charge. They can move 4 inches. 3 plus just that little bit more. So they're going to be just hanging out a bit outside there. And like that. Okay. Those guys are going to... They can still share one. I'm not going to probably accelerate them a lot. So those guys charge that Hammer Templar, which opens up the lane for this guy to charge in and move in right here. Things are heating up. So that's all that movement. I've got to decide if I'm going to move or try and shoot with that guy, or what I'm going to try and do with him. He probably will try and move up around this corner, and he can be trying to take shots at people. Well, it doesn't really have anyone to shoot because everybody's in melee. So, we'll figure that out in a minute. Why did that flip over? That flipped upside down for some reason on my phone, because that's what I'm recording on. Okay, that's the down ticking. That's the charging. Let's start doing the dice rolling here. Just a second. Okay, let's do these 2 skeleton boys against the Hammer Templar. They have melee ability 12. So that would be 4 damage. These guys have enhanced armor 2. So that's down to 2 damage, and they're imprecise. So that only did 1 extra damage to that poor Templar. The skeleton warriors I designed to be more like a speed bump than a killy. Maybe that doesn't match their models very well, because their models look really killy. But I wanted them to be more speed bumps. That's why they have that rise again ability. Let's see what the other one does. The other one does Bupkis. Super Bupkis. So that was some interesting charges. Let's do this guy against this dwarf right here. He is going... Yeah, he's going to attack this guy. He doesn't want to... He kind of wants to attack this guy, but this guy would get cover from attacking through another model. So he could, but that guy would probably get cover 6, the heavy cover. Okay, so against the dwarves, no rerolling. They don't have any rerolling, but they do have the power from pain. So that is 6, 8. 18 minus 8 is 10 damage. That dude's going to use some of his first brave that he got from that spell to lower that to 7 damage. His enhanced armor will do it to 5 damage. And then this guy is reanimated, so that'll bring it all the way down to 2. This is going to be a slog fest. The undead versus the dwarves. 2 damage to that guy. We're going to have this guy's stuff. This is where I want some pointing. Because it's for that guy right there. Not this one. But that one right beside him. Right there. Okay. So not the most effective of those attacks. Oh, this guy against that dwarf. 2 attacks. It was this and this. 5 and a 6 will not do enough to damage that dwarf. That's for sure. Alright, that would be all of the charges. Now, this guy has no more activation timers on him. So he is going to do a melee attack against that damaged dude. I'm going to have to... Let's grab the rules for him again. He is melee ability 24. And then... Oh, I forgot to do his regeneration again. See, when you're trying to remember 2 different forces, it's kind of hard to remember all these rules. Oof, he healed bigly. That was a big heal. He's dangerous. He can heal up on his own. Okay, a lot of points went into this guy. A lot of points went into those guys. Alright, let's get to... I got distracted by the other part. I needed to grab... He has brutal strength. That's the only perk he has for attacking. And when he charges, he has mass, but he didn't pull off a charge this time around. I just lost one of my dice. There it is. Okay. Okay. Oh. 20. 24 minus 20 would be 4. So 4 damage. He has enhanced armor, so that's down to 2. And he is reanimated. So that would add 3. So he whiffed. Hugely whiffed. Man, Necromancers have whiffed quite a few times. And that would be his attacks. I need to go decide what to do with the power and what I'm going to do with that guy. Though I think, yeah. So I'll be back after deciding how to spend that 5 power. I don't think there'll be any more attack. Well, potentially. I'll probably use 1 power here. We'll attack with this guy. We'll down tick him and attack. So that would be 3 dice. We know that. Against... We'll have him keep attacking Wounded Boy. 3 dice. That would be 18 minus... Oh, my brain just froze up. Minus 13. So that would be 5 damage. And then they're in armor and them being reanimated, it's not going to do anything. So that was a whiff too. They're really struggling, these dudes. Let's see. We're going to accelerate. We're going to accelerate this guy. I think that other Skelly boy might die. So that would be 1 acceleration. That'd be a 3. We're going to accelerate our con spell to go down to a 1. So that would be 1 more power. And then let's accelerate. We need this cave spider going. I didn't accelerate him. He just down ticked on his own, if I'm remembering right. Again, trying to do it for both teams is kind of a tough... It's tough. I need to do a smaller, more succinct game. This is a more complicated, advanced kind of game, and I should have started smaller. But anywho, and then you know what? The Necromancer is going to move because he can move 6. He's gonna move. And he's just gonna move up here. It's gonna count an inch going up in ground height. He's gonna move to right there. And that, and then he's going to use his last power to accelerate that. And that's going to be the end of the Necromancer's turn. I'm going to, I think, post it from here and then carry on with the next turn in a bit. I've been filming for a bit, and this table is super low. So, just as some dev notes, I feel like a lot of the nuts and bolts of how the game is played has been shown. But I'll continue showing it off, and we'll see if we can get this game to its conclusion. But I think I'm going to post from this point, because we are going to be moving on to turn 6. So, 6 power to this guy. Oh, these dice from War Machine make me so happy. And 6 power to this guy. It's going to have to be different dice on the next turn. And we will down tick the dwarves and have them be ready to rumble for the conclusion. I'm gonna post this one. I have a bunch of little videos to stitch together of this, and it's probably pretty long at this point. I'm gonna post this one and then get ready for the next one and post the rest of this battle into the 3rd battle report for this one. Thanks for checking it out. If you stuck to here, holy smokes, you're an all-star. If you have a YouTube channel and you thought this game was cool, please reach out to me, and I'd love to work with you, and we could do some battle reports, hopefully against someone else, so that it's not so much checking every rule, trying to keep on both sides. All right. Bye.